Welcome back, all of you. We were discussing about this particular slide, but before we go, I just want to verify whether these slides and my voice is audible to all or not, just for reconfirmation. Okay, good. I got the audio. So, we were discussing about this example, and we have seen that we can write XML documents to describe what is the data about. So let us try to see how this document will look like in our output and why I said that I am not so fascinated about this XML. I'll just copy it and try to execute how it will look like in our browsers. So let me create one notepad file here. Let us try to save it. How we are going to save, have a look carefully. We'll save it with some name with the extension of .xml. Okay, so let us save. Let's give a different name. Example 1.xml. I'm saving it. Now once I have saved it, how to execute and how to check its result. If I double click it, it is asking me for Office XML handler. I'm not interested in that. I will open it in Internet Explorer because it is for the websites to be viewed mainly. And I got any output here. Is it displaying anything? I'm refreshing it n number of times. Is there any output? No. Let us try to execute it in another browser and check it. Let us say, let's open in Firefox and check it out. It has given me that unclosed token parser problem. Okay. So it seems there is a problem here in this line. Let us eliminate this one. Let us try to save it and then try to recheck it out. Now, it just gave that this XML file does not appear to have any style information associated with it. That means it is not able to interpret that particular file to be displayable format. A displayable format. That's why it is telling that there is no style associated with it. Yes, we did not apply any CSS to it. We did not apply any styling effect to it. The document tree is shown below. How the document is visible to you? Whatever we have written is all back again, right? With a plus symbol for expandation. That's all. But what is the purpose of creating all this things? The main purpose for creating all this file was not to have any visual impact on the data. It was just trying to attach what is this date about. It was trying to attach a particular description to it. What is this numerical figure about? It was about a phone number. Suppose you all know what is an email address. If you have a look at this at the rate symbol in with a .com or something, you will say that okay, it's the address. What if a person doesn't know what is the email address, and if they have a look at this particular line, what they should interpret it as? If something new comes in, what should be taken as? For example, Alice. I don't know what is the Alice. Is it a name or a keyword or a new English word? I don't know. So I had to look at what is it used for it. From that, I can interpret. Okay, it's the name of a particular person. So XML's main purpose is not to have any visual impacts on the data that is being presented. It's mainly meant for describing the document. Clear, fine, why we are using XML. So we have seen this particular slide. Now let us try to see some more detail about this. This slide is going to talk about what is the name build-up of first name and last name. Okay, if I want to categorize them, then I have to enclose the first name and the last name within the name tag. Just like in HTML, for one tag, you used to enclose two, three tags within one of them. Like that, within the name, you are going to enclose first name and the last name. But do remember, you have to, whatever is the innermost, you have to close it first and then close it the outer ones. You have to follow the nesting procedures. Like that for birthday, year, month, and day. That should also be explicitly mentioned. So, what is this XML files all about? They are looked at as a tree. So, what is this tree? For address, I'm telling that this is a root. Uh, from this root element, there are certain children of it. Children are name, email address, phone number, and birthday. When it comes for name and birthday, again they have their own child elements, first name, last name, year, month, and day. So an element can have further categorization, or it may be the last element by itself. Okay. We call them as leaf elements. Fine. So, and what is a XML tree? It's just an XML document that has a single root, or it should be an ordered tree. In the sense, there should be one parent node which can have any number of children. These children are further ordered such that they have their siblings or their child elements. Okay. Now for looking at the tree, we have got various traversal methodologies. In your C++, in the last topics you might have gone through C++ and data structures, you might have gone through in-order, post-order, and pre-order traversal techniques, which is a very important concept in our computer industry. In case of XML, it follows pre-order traversal. Okay. Now, what XML documents are considered as valid? Any XML document, whatever it may be, if it is having a proper tree ordering structure, and if it is having valid rules and regulations which we have discussed earlier being followed, then it is called as a valid XML document. Okay. Any well-formed document which is having a tree structure is called as a valid XML document. Now, till here, what we have done is we have explicitly mentioned certain rules and regulations for XML documents. What were the rules and regulations that we have discussed till now? How a XML document should be made, right? How a XML tag should be made. For example, one of the rules that we discussed is it should follow all the rules and regulations discussed for a identifier, labeling of an identifier. Similarly, we have seen that XML tags should have a proper opening and a closing tag. XML tags should not have self-closing nature. XML tags are case sensitive. We have discussed all these rules, right? But if I consider a particular XML document, if someone gives me two XML documents, let us say of this nature, they have given me an XML document of this nature, and in the second document, instead of month, instead of month, they skipped it off and they just mentioned year and day. Will both be the same? Which one will you consider as more valid? The first one which contains more detail, or the second one which was not containing month? Put it in your chat box. Suppose two XML documents have been given to you. The first one containing year, month and day. Second one containing only year and day. Which one will you consider more valid? First one or the second one? First one, right? Suppose, yes, Sandeep, you are also right. First one. Now suppose two XML documents are given to you. The first one containing, listen carefully, year, month and day. Second one containing year, day and month. Which one will you consider more valid? Yes, it created a confusion for you, right? Yes, it created a confusion for you, right? I'm again repeating. The first document was containing year, month, and day. Second document, year, day, and month. Which one will you consider as more valid? Why only first one? Why not the second? Both are giving you the appropriate date, right? But since you are having an Indian concept that you will write uh, date also at the last of next to the month, you are having that particular concept. After month, you will write the date you are thinking. Actually, if I want to say that this document is correct, this document is valid, this is not valid, I have to tell that particular activity to the computer through certain files. That particular activity is called as document type definition, DTD. Okay. That validity is called as document type. So where do we program XML document? Same just now, I have opened the notepad file, written the XML file, and opened in the web browser. That's all. Same, just like your HTML. Okay. Now, this document type definition is an XML document which will describe what should be the structure of your another XML document to be followed, to be called as a valid. Fine. So let us have a look on the XML. I'll come back for the previous slide again. What is DTD looking like? DTD will tell, suppose if I am writing a tag called as address, what is this address going to have its children like? And what should be its ordering? It is going to have children's like name, email, phone number, and date of birth. So altogether, how many children are there? Four children are there. It is clearly specifying it. It is telling that name tag should come prior to email tag, which should prior to phone number tag, which should come first to birthday tag. Okay. Now the address tag is composed of how many is nested of how many further tags: name, email, phone number, and birthday. These four tags. Now further, what is the name going to be composed of? Is it going to have certain child elements further? Yes. What are these? First name and last name. Okay, what is the first name? Is it going to have any child characters with it? No, it is going to have past character data. This is just like your data type. Just like in float character, we have got two types of data types in DTD called as past data and character data, C data. parsed data means the parser, XML parser, is going to check what is the data about. Character data, it will ignore it. If I mention hash C data for the first name, it will just ignore that particular value. It will not parse it. Okay. Parsing means to check whether a particular thing is valid or not, to check whether a particular data is, indirectly speaking, it is going to interpret its meaning. Okay. So first name, I'm telling that yes, the XML parser has to parse it. It is of a type of parsed character data. Last name, it is also of type parsed character data. If it is going to have further children, I will mention the children here. Okay. I'm telling email, it is also a parsed character data. Phone number, it is also parsed character data. Date of birth, it is going to contain three child elements: year, month, and day. And what should be the order in which they should appear? Year should come first, then the month should come, and then the day should come. So, what are those year, month, and day? I have mentioned that these are parsed character data sets. So, how are we going to tell the compiler that this is a DTD, this is not an XML document? Sorry, this is not for data, this is for describing another XML document. How are we going to tell it? To tell to the compiler, we'll use a special tag called as element. We'll use a special tag called as element with an exclamation symbol. Okay. So with the exclamation symbol element all in capitals, we'll mention what are the tags used in another XML document which is supposed to be a valid one. Okay, so the parser will look at DTD and cross-check it with the given XML document. Is the given XML document matching with the DTD description over here or not? If it is matching, it will say that the given XML document is valid document. If it doesn't matches with the given DTD, it will say that yes, the given XML document is not a valid document. Okay, do remember here only four data types are there. One is PC data, second is C data, past character data, character data. Okay, simple. So let's get back for the previous slide. What does DTD does? It describes the tree structure for a given document and something about the document. Two data types, PC data and C data. C data is for past character data, C data is for character data, which is not usually parsed because characters are very simple representations of data. They will be just written as it is. DTT determines how many times a node may appear and how many children are ordered. Clear with this concept? What is DTT? DTT is a special XML document which describes another XML document. It should. Uh, what is the description about? It's a description about the given XML document's validity. What should the document contain? How many tags it should contain? How many child nodes should a given tag contain? And what should be the order of the child nodes in that particular given document? Okay. So this is a DTD, which is a second XML document describing about a given XML document. Just like your DTD, there were little enhancements done for the data types, and people called it as schema. These schemas, XML schemas, describes a given XML document in a more detailed manner. They will not just mention how many tags are going to be used, how many child nodes will be there for a tag, what will be their orders. They will also talk about what should be the nesting procedure, how many data types should be there. Okay, there are various data types given in this particular schemas. They are just standardizations of DTTs. We can simply say that particular word. Okay. So, what are the data types that are included in our schema is XML schemas? We have got string, which is composed of a set of characters. We have got a data type called as decimal or decimal valued numbers. We have got a data type called as integer for real valued numbers. We have got a data type called as boolean to represent true or false. We have got a data type called as date and time also. Okay. Now, further, we'll divide the elements into simple or complex types. This division is based on whether they are going to have the children or not. Okay. So let us try to see for the example. What we'll write is, we'll mention that this is a, just how we mentioned for DTT that it's a DTT document, it's not a normal XML document. We distinguished it by putting a exclamation and element tag. Right? We use a exclamation and element tag. By saying this, the XML compiler or XML parser came to know that this file is going to have a DTT description about another file, right? Another XML file. Similarly, for a schema also, we'll mention XS schema. Actually, this XS is XML namespace. Its full form is XML namespace, and in that namespace, I am using a schema. This XML namespace XS is defined in a given organization. They have defined those data types. Description has been given in an organization called as Worldwide Consortium. Okay, W3C, Worldwide Consortium. This Web Worldwide Consortium has given certain rules and regulations for those data types, predefined data types. So we will mention what is the namespace we are going to use with the help of the URL. Now I am telling that there is an element called as name in this particular XML schema called as address. Okay, I'm defining that address is a name of a given element, and it is of complex type. Why it is complex type? Because it is going to contain a sequence of children. So what is the type of that particular element? It is complex type, and it is going to follow a sequence. What is that sequence? Element name is name. Okay, for the child is name, and its type is string type. And this name, there is one more called as email, and its value is, its data type is also string type. There is one more element called as phone number. Its data type is also string type. We can even mention XS colon integer here because phone numbers are integer type. So we can even mention that particular activity. Similarly, we have got one more element called as birthday, and it is of, it is also we can mention type equal to XS colon date. But if even if we don't mention, there is no problem. Now this sequence should always be followed. That means when we are using address chunk, it should definitely contain these four. Within these four child nodes, the first one should come as the name, second one should come as the email, third one should come as the phone number, fourth one should come as the birthday. This sequence should be followed. For the complex type, we are closing this complex type, and for this element address, we are closing that one, and we are closing this schema. Okay. For each and every description given you, I have kept similar explanatory slide for your easy understanding. Please go through that particular this particular slide which is visible here. Okay. But one more key point here: dates are always written in this format: year, month, and date. In our India, we are habituated with the British rule. We'll write the date, month, and year. But as I said, computer industry is dominated by the Americans, USA. So their format of writing date is year, month, and date. Okay, clear now? So till now, we have seen to write programs, and these programs were just simply given as the output in the browser, just as we have written the program. Simple. We have seen this particular output, right? Whatever we have written here, it came as the output. You opened it? No. 1 minute. I'll just execute that one and show it back. 1.xml. Can you see any visual change in this particular output of this particular except some coloring and a plus mark symbol here? Expandable nature of our tags. There is no other visual change, right? So whatever we have written in the XML document has been displayed back again with the expandable tree format nature. That's all, right? So if I want these tags to be hidden, they should not be written, they should not be displayed in the browser. Just the output, what we have written within the tags should get displayed as the output. Then we have to translate this XML into a HTML format or some other format. Okay, so for the translation, we have got a special uh, concept called as Xslt, Extensible Style Sheet Language Transformations. Okay, so what are these transformations? Each is used to transform one XML document into another, which is oftenly an HTML document. Now it is all the things I'm not going to speak about because it is widely used in Java. So let us try to see how that XSLT looks like. Therefore, schema, XML schema, we have written XS. For XSLT, we will write XSL, XML style sheet transformations. Okay, XSL. Be careful about this. Only if I write XS, it becomes XML schema. Now I'm telling style sheet, XML style sheet. So I have to write XSL colon style sheet and the version is 1.2. And where is this style sheet defined? It is defined, it will contain certain definitions, right? Predefined definitions, certain keywords. Those keywords are defined at this particular URL by this organization, W3C Consortium. So we'll mention what is the namespace of that URL here. So once we have mentioned those things, my browser's parser will be familiar of what rules and regulations are to be followed, and it is telling, okay, now interpret this document. What is this document built up of? It's going to have XSL colon template match address wherever the address tag comes in. The HTML code, HTML head title address book, and close this particular head. Body. Whenever you find any tag value of whatever value of name, wherever you find the tag name, take its value, select value of name and display it out. Put a new line character, display whatever value of email is there. Next, put a new line, display whatever value of phone number is there. Next new line, display whatever value of birthday is there. Close the body, close the HTML, and close the template. It in the sense, whatever address was being matched, whatever tag address was being matched. Close the style sheet and close up. This will be the output given to you. Okay. Let's try to see this particular output, whether it will come or not. So let's try to refresh it out so that we can see. Can you see this XSL document here being mentioned in my folder? to open it with the Can you see this particular file coming up? Let's try for opening it with another application, Firefox. Check the output. Can you see this particular file displayed again back again? Right? Now I'm going back for my XML document and trying to display it with the Firefox. Can you see any visual changes here? Okay, fine. So now coming on for the last topic of our whole document, XML parsers. I told you that parsers are meant for interpretation of XML documents. These will be the added plugins to our web browsers, but nowadays web browsers are all automatically included with XML parsers. Usually there are two basic parsers available. One is simple API for XML, okay, which uses Java X listeners, which is very similar to Java X, which uses a callback methodology of Java X listeners, and another one which is Windows based, which is present right from the beginning of Windows, called as document object model, and it is mainly used for having a tree type of traversal. But do remember the traversal that the XML document follows is pre-ordered traversal. Please go to your C++ and get to know what is pre-order, post-order, and in-order traversals. Okay, this is all about your XML till now. Do you have any doubt in XMLs? Having a quick revision of XML. The XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. This XML is mainly used for creating our own new tags. So whenever we are defining new tags, we have to make sure that these tags are uniformly created throughout the world. Those should have their own meanings. Okay. Now, whenever we want to define a tag, it should follow certain rules and regulations. What are those rules and regulations? It should have these rules followed and just similar to that of your identifier rules. Now, what were the identifier rules? The first uh, should be a alphabet, should be a letter. Next, it can be any combination of alphanumerical nature, and it can have only and only, and no other special characters should be included, right? It should be case sensitive. XML tags are case sensitive. Uppercase and small case are two different entities. XML tags can be nested, but proper nesting order should be followed. So what interval rules are there? We have discussed all those rules one after the other. In case of well-formed documents, any XML document which follows the rules and regulations discussed further earlier is called as well-formed document. But just well-formed documents are not enough. We should also mention what the description about what is the document about, whether it is valid or not valid, whether it is following the proper sequencing of the nesting or not. For that reason, we have got DTD, document type descriptor. This document type descriptor is coming with only two data types. One is past character, second is data. Now, for past character data and character data, we'll mention them only for the leaf nodes. For the parental nodes, we'll mention how many childs they are going to have in the parenthesis, and we'll mention specifically what is their sequence. Now, to distinguish between a normal XML document and a DTT document, we have to tell that we have to distinguish it with the help of exclamation element. Okay? We have to use exclamation element tag to distinguish between them. Okay. Next, we have learnt about schemas, XML schemas. XML schemas are going to describe further, or they are going to have some more details than just that of your DTTs. To have more details, it has given more data types. Data types that are included are string, decimal, integer, boolean, date, and time. So six data types have been included. So how are we going to mention it out? We are going to say that we are using XML namespace, and that namespace is present at this particular uh, address location. What is this namespace going to talk about? It is going to talk about the rules and regulations, the data types that are defined for the six data types, the set of definitions that are there for the six data types. Now, when we are using this namespace, we are telling that we are going to describe an element called as address. What is the name of the element? Address. And what type of element it is? Is it a simple child element, that is leaf element, or is it a parental element? Parental elements will have further child nodes, right? So it is called as complex type. So what is the sequence to be followed in that complex time? What are the child elements? It is going to have one of the elements called as name, another element whose name is email, another element whose name is phone number, another element whose name is date of birth. What are these data types? String, 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 and date. So these were the child nodes, and this sequence should be followed. They cannot be mentioned in any other sequence. Sequence is being closed here. Complex type, the parental element is closed. The element description is also closed, and this schema is closed. So with the help of this document, we are describing some more details about the given XML document. Now, XSLT is meant for applying a style sheet for a given XML document, for converting it into a HTML interpretable format. So for that reason, what we have to do, we have to write XS, and we have to mention this style sheet and its version number. And we have to mention where this transformation definitions are present. They are present in this particular URL. Okay. So what we are going to do? We are telling that take a template wherever address tag is being used. Display this particular HTML document. Whenever the parser interprets a address tag, it has to display or transform it into this HTML document. What is this HTML document going to contain? Head, as usual, it's a normal head. In the body, I'm telling that select value of what tag, name tag, select value of what tag, email tag, and display it. When I say select, it will actually display it back onto the screen. Okay. So select value of phone number and display it. Select value of date of birth and display it. So basically, using the XSLT XML style sheet, we are transforming an XML document into a corresponding HTML document. Okay, fine. So coming on for parsers, these parsers are of two basic types. One is simple API for XML and another is document model. Okay. The class time is about to finish. Just 5 minutes are left. So if you have any doubt, please raise it. Is there any link or connection between XML and HTML? Yes, there is a link between XML and HTML. What you will do is, using XML, you will define your own tags and you will try to use it in HTML also. HTML documents. Basically, whenever you want to interlink two different technologies, you will use XML. But one more thing I would like to speak out here. whatever we have learned in XML is not the actual usage of XML in nowadays. XML is used mainly for creating new tags. That's a sure thing. But XML is nowadays being used heavily for translation between one language into another language for interlinking of two different technologies. XSLT is a XSLT is a translation technique to translate XML into corresponding HTML so that that HTML can be displayed. XML is a language to describe new tags. XSLT is a procedure to translate XML into HTML. Any other doubt? Okay, thank you. By this, we have finished our first unit successfully in IT, which was composed of three different technologies, HTML, CSS, and XML. Second unit, we have got JavaScript. It will not take much time from now onwards to go through these things, except for the fourth unit. Fourth unit will spend more time because that's the actual core part of your Java. I'll not do it in a hurry. So, one small assignment to you people now. The assignment is you have to create a HTML web page or two, three HTML web pages, link them together for our Independence Republic Day. Okay, you have to create your own web pages for putting the matter representing our Republic Day. Okay, submission day. Definitely, Republic Day is a holiday. I cannot ask for that day. It will be just after Republic Day, 27th or 28th. Do it as a gift to me on Republic Day. Let us see how best you can do it. Okay, ma, then I'll close off this session now. Fine.